Hello, everybody. Today's review is going to be of Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse, which I gave a 9 out of 10 to. I feel like I did enjoy this one, I think, a little bit more than the first one. And a lot of times, sequels aren't really as great as the first movie, but I feel like they've just done such a good job with these movies so far that, I don't know, that they can't do any wrong so far. Just the exploration of the multiverse with Spider-Man has been phenomenal. And the fact that they can now travel without having to worry about glitching in each universe is pretty cool because we're introduced to Spider-Man 2099 in this movie, so that was a huge thing because he has the technology to travel between universes, or I guess Earths, if you want to call them that, without glitching or causing any issues. Although he did have his issues in the past, obviously, where he went to another universe where he had a family and so on and so forth, and eventually, because he wasn't supposed to be there, he ended up actually destroying that universe all on his own. So he has had a past, and he knows that he has to keep everything in order. So he's trying to, and of course, he calls everything that's not supposed to be in that universe an anomaly. And of course, as we know now, Miles Morales wasn't supposed to be bitten by the spider in his own universe, and if he had have been, his Peter Parker, I guess, would have survived. But because he was bitten by the spider in his universe from a spider from a different universe, he's technically an anomaly even in his own universe, even though he's not going to glitch, obviously, in his own universe because he's still supposed to be there, right? So it does make sense. It's hard to wrap your head around because if he was in a different universe and he wasn't supposed to be there and he had like maybe the wristband on and he wasn't glitching, eventually the whole fabric of that universe would just kind of start to deteriorate around him, right? Because he's not meant to be there. So we'll go over, I guess, the universes that we explore throughout this movie. So we start off on Earth 65, which is Gwen's universe, which I thought was just probably one of the cooler universes, just with even like the color palette and stuff, and the way that they were able to kind of change the animations, like even in the background and stuff, changing animations in her universe throughout the entire movie. I thought it was just kind of cool. And they kind of changed it based on like how the mood was going in the scene. So it's just little things to look for like that in a movie that make it or break it kind of thing. Because even as like if it was angry, it was kind of like more like darker toned colors, and then when she was happy, it was like um, a little bit brighter. And then when like her and her dad finally like made up near the end of the movie, the like colors in the background kind of like melt together, so it's supposed to be like a warming moment. Yeah, just things like that that you pick up on were really cool. And then obviously we have Earth 1610, which is Miles's universe. And then Earth 42 was the spider that bit Miles, and also the same universe that Spot came from. So Spot was trying to like become uh, Miles as like main nemesis, or I guess Spider-Man's main nemesis, because I guess he blew up a lab that Spot was in, and that's how Spot became Spot, obviously. So when he's searching for uh, Spider-Man in Miles's universe, he's trying to steal like a ATM, and it was just funny because they called it ATM machine, and Spider-Man introduces himself in this movie by saying, why do the people call it ATM machine? The M stands for machine. I've always found it funny when people call it an ATM machine because, yeah, it is an automatic transaction machine. So why we add the machine to the end of that, I don't know. And then we had Earth 688, which was Chinatown in San Francisco, I do believe. Um, and then Earth 18122 was the Lego universe, so it's kind of cool to just see all these universes in one. And then Earth 5101 was Moonbatten, which was like all these universes had a Spider-Man, and like the same kind of concept where they had like the love interest, and it seemed like every time, no matter what, the father of the love interest was always in law enforcement. So it's almost like every story is the same, but it's obviously based on what the Spider-Man in that universe does. It could technically change a little bit, but Miguel O'Hara, who is Spider-Man 2099, tries to kind of explain it that each universe has the same like canon events. So I guess the person closest to them is always going to die no matter what, and that's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to be able to save them, sort of thing. So of course he's trying to explain that to Miles, and obviously Miles is going to have none of it, right? Um, so Miles eventually escapes from Earth 928, which is New York. So that's, I guess, kind of like Spider-Man headquarters. So like every single Spider-Man from every single universe eventually meets up there, and obviously they've all teamed up together, right, to take out all these anomalies over all these other universes. And there's like the Rhino, Mysterio, even a real live action Prowler. So it was kind of cool to see all these different characters and like where they could potentially take the movie, right? Because if you can, because they do move into the real world in a couple of the scenes, so it was kind of interesting to see exactly where they're going to take this. Because if could they be fighting real world characters within this movie eventually down the road? Like it would be interesting to see like the animation versus a real life like villain. I just think that would be kind of cool. I don't know how exactly they would do that, but it would be interesting to see. Um, so yeah, we'll go over the casting list. Shamik Moore plays Miles Morales, or I guess voices Miles Morales. Haley Steinfeld voices Gwen Stacy. Brian Tyree Henry voices Jeff Morales, which is Miles' dad. Luna Lauren Velez, who voices Rio Morales, who is Miles' mom. Jake Johnson, Peter B. Parker, which is basically the one that kind of trains Miles throughout the first movie. And then we had Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara. So he's kind of like in the middle because he's like a vampire Spider-Man. So I'm not exactly sure like how he keeps himself, like level-headed, because he does kind of snap in certain parts of the movie. And obviously I know he's just trying to do the right thing by himself because he doesn't want to, destroy any other universes, right? But he's also kind of playing like, I don't know, he's kind of playing like the bad guy and the good guy at the same time. Like he's saving stuff, but he's also kind of dictating every other storyline, which isn't going to end well either, because I would think that if you're messing with the storylines, potentially you could actually end up destroying the universe as well, too, right? I'm not really sure exactly how that would go, but I feel like that's something that could happen. And then we had Jason Schwartzman as Spot, Isaiah Ray as Jessica Drew, or Spider-Woman, as she may be better known. Daniel Kawala, 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 Cal. I hope Kabbalah is right. Anyway, who played Hobie Brown, who was also another Spider-Man, or I guess Spider-Punk was, as he was better known. And then we had Karan Soni playing Paviter Prahakar, and he was probably the funniest Spider-Man, and he was in the Moonbatten universe. So I don't really know if they actually mentioned his actual Spider-Man name, or whether he was just kind of like Spider-Man in that universe, because I don't remember them ever putting up a name. And then we had Shea Wingham, who played George Stacy, so that would be Gwen Stacy's father. And then we had Marshala Ali, who played Uncle Aaron, and then Amanda Stenberg, who played Margot Kess, or Spider-Bite. So she was a pretty important character because she was the one that was there kind of controlling the machine that sent all of the anomalies back to their own universe from New York. And of course, we kind of get more of Gwen's story in this movie too, right from the beginning. So she had her own Peter Parker, and of course, Peter Parker ends up dying, and she gets blamed for his death. Obviously, without her dad knowing that she is Spider Gwen, right? or I guess Spider Girl, as you would call her. Um, so yeah, and then her dad gets called to the scene of who was it? Oh my God, why can't I think of the name of the person that she fought first? Oh yeah, Vulture. It was Vulture from a different, totally different universe that she has to fight, and that's when she first meets Miguel O'Hara. And then her dad catches up with her and tells her to put her hands up, and she shows him who she truly is. And then, of course, Miguel kind of feels bad and brings her along with him because her dad isn't gonna, stop doing his job just because he's a cop. If he truly believes that his daughter may have killed Peter, he is going to take her in regardless, which is kind of sad. But when she comes back to her father, at least he, quits the force and tells her that, he can't do it if she is his daughter, right? Because it would be too hard for him to be a cop and try to bring his daughter in, I guess, was essentially what he was trying to say. Um, and, he lets her go again back into the other universes because now she has to find Miles, who escaped as well, but was also sent to Earth 42. And the biggest thing there was the fact that in Earth 42, Miles Morales is the Prowler. And Uncle Aaron is still alive in this universe. Um, and he's not the Prowler, which is kind of odd, but he is obviously working with Miles in this universe, helping out the Prowler. So I'm not really sure whether the Prowler is like a superhero in that universe, like Earth 42, or whether he's also a bad guy, and whether there is no Spider-Man in that universe. And it's kind of interesting, really. And then obviously in this universe, Miles has already lost his dad, um, in Earth 42. So I'm not really sure. Gwen's gonna have to try to find out exactly where Miles is and try to save him. And at the same time, Miles is going to have to fight himself. And they do say that if you're traveling universes, never to actually meet yourself because that could also destroy the fabric of that universe. So I'm interested to see exactly where they're going to take this, um, and how much damage he's going to do to Earth 42 now because he's already done enough just with Spot alone. Um, and yeah, there's already been enough damage because the spider that was bit Miles was from Earth 42, so that already wasn't supposed to happen. And then, of course, blowing up uh, the lab that Spot was in, and then him coming back and recreating the way that he could travel. So I don't think he was actually able to travel like too far. Um, Now it was interesting when he was like when Spot was in his own like little world when he got sucked into himself essentially. Um, he realized that he could travel from world to world. So, uh, but then he ran out of his spots, so he had to find a way to recreate them, and he could travel even faster then. So I think he was trying to find like a collider, and then make himself even stronger to obviously fight Spider-Man. So it was almost like he reversed his powers in a sense because he was white with like the black spots at the beginning of the movie, but then when he went into the collider, he just kind of changed into a complete, almost like a shadow type figure. So it's interesting to see exactly what his powers are, and I think he's going to be able to just kind of like rip through the fabric of space and time pretty easily now. And of course, with nobody there to protect Miles's parents in his own universe, Spot seems to have arrived. So I'm interested to see exactly how Miles is going to get out of the situation he's in, and whether he's going to be able to go back to his own universe quickly enough to save his parents, because I feel like his mom and dad are both going to be, well, obviously, Spot is after his dad, but I feel like they're both in potential danger for being killed by Spot. I really hope that's not what happens because I don't think Miles will be able to handle losing both his parents. That's for sure. And I hope he's able to stop the canon event and kind of prove to Miguel O'Hara that you don't necessarily need to follow the rules all the time, especially if it's in your own universe, right? Because you're not going to actually do it. I don't think you would do any damage in your own universe if you save the people that you love. Um, So I think Miles has a pretty good point. Also, obviously, Miguel O'Hara is worried because everything seems to kind of play out the same no matter what the universe. But I can see both. I can see both sides of the coin there. Um, they're just trying to protect what they think they should, and obviously, Miguel's kind of a little bit. I feel like he's a little bit on the wrong side. I'm hoping I'm right, and that Miles is able to save his dad and prove that it doesn't really need to be that way, which would be sad because that means all these other Spider-Mans have gone through the same thing and they could have actually changed it and they didn't just because Miguel told them not to. So that would also be unfortunate for the rest of the Spider-Man as well. And yeah, 9 out of 10 for this movie I gave it. And I think I've pretty much explained everything I can. And I guess I will see you guys in the next review. Bye bye for now.